In this segment, what we're going to do is not only look at a pie chart, but I also want to step back for just a moment and show you how easy it is to take, say, this frequency table and copy and paste into PowerPoint. So I'm going to highlight the cells that are of interest to me. I'm going to do a right-click copy, and then I'm going to go back into PowerPoint. We have an empty document right here. And you have a lot of options available to you. For example, you might be able to scan the menus and see if there might be of something like a template to choose from under File, for example, right here. And you'll notice that there are a lot of templates that people have created in the past that you can choose from that are interesting. But for the sake of this project, I'm going to keep it really simple and just start with a new slide that is just white with two text box. And what I'd like to do is give it a little more pizzazz, I guess, by giving it some color. And a nice way to do that is to look for a background color. So if I were to do a right click here, for example, there's a format background option. I'm sure you'd find it in one of the menus up at the top as well. And in the format background, you can just fill with solid colors, gradients, picture, text, and even patterns. One of the things I find that's kind of nice to do is to use a texture. And when you click on Choose Texture, you get a wide variety of different colors and types of textures. And so I'll keep it simple with, say, let's go with papyrus right here. And that gives it a nice look. And if I hit Apply to All, I think that might pay off. Let's test drive that idea. If I hit New Slide, yes, that actually keeps applying that same background. If you forget to hit Apply to All, there's another nice thing called Duplicate Slide right up here under Insert. So you can duplicate it as is. So you don't have to keep choosing the background color. So now that I've asked for different slides to have that same background color, what I might consider doing is getting a title up and running. So let's call this, say, Math 108 Charting with Excel Project. And perhaps can make it look good like that and scrunch it down just a little bit. And then this document, or this text box down here might be a place for me to write my comments. That we've asked you to just give a 1 or 2 sentence comment on each graph that you paste in, just talking about what you notice, any insights you might have, and any kind of comment that would apply. So a moment ago, you might recall I was back in Excel and I simply had highlighted and I had done a copy on that table. So now that I'm back in PowerPoint, what I'm going to do next is the crucial part. I'm simply going to do another right click and do a paste special, or up in the edit menu you might find a paste special there as well, but I tend to like the right click, it's a little faster. So when I do paste special, I have a lot of options, and I think the simplest way to go about this is just to paste it in as a picture only. Don't try to keep the slides linked with Excel documents. You can, but a picture is the way to keep it nice and simple. You'll have less complications perhaps that way. So you can take that frequency table and make it bigger. You can move it around, do what you need to do, give it a professional look and feel, and down here make some comments. So I'll do that with the pie graph in just a moment. Let's get back to the Excel worksheet. To run a pie graph or pie chart effectively, what we want to do is probably highlight not only the frequencies that we're interested in displaying, but also their labels. So I'm going to highlight these cells from freshman down to non-matriculating. I don't want to pick up the total because I want to keep the wedges nice and uniform with just simply the breakdown in our populations of the students at BYU Idaho this fall semester of 2013. Up here in the chart ribbon, which would look essentially the same on a Windows environment, you just look for a pie graph option, and you have a lot of choices. I'm going to go with just a 2-dimensional to begin with. There we go. And what this lacks, for starters, is it lacks a title. And so under Chart Layout, I'm going to locate my chart title and ask it to maybe put it right up above. And with that, it gets things ready to go, so I can actually type in something that describes this particular pie chart that I'm doing. So suppose I call it Fall 2013 BYU Idaho enrollment, and that description is totally up to you. You might also say day students or full-time students. That's what we can do. There we go. And if we want to change the font size, we can do that. As we make the pie graph a little bit bigger, this charting rectangle, it will give us a little more breathing room. This is the legend, as you know, and the reason it picked up the legend correctly is obviously it looked to the left here of what we had highlighted, and we're good there. One thing that I'd like to put in the wedges is just some labels. If I do a right click and hit Add Data Labels, it will take these populations, these enrollment figures, and put them right in the appropriate location. Another nice thing to be aware of is if you do a right click in the white space of your chart, you have an opportunity to format the chart area. Maybe it would be nice to give it a little bit of color. So I'm going to choose to go solid this time and pick just a color that isn't too bold, too dark. Alright, so a lot of options there to choose from. Let's go with that one right there maybe. And finally, the last thing that would be nice to show you is how you can change it from 2D to 3D and some of the dangers involved in there. So if I click back on my chart ribbon and I've highlighted the chart, I can go to the pie and this time ask for a three-dimensional look. It barely tilts it, so it barely has a 3D effect. If I want more of an effect there, I can do a right click right on the pie itself and do a 3D rotation. So I'm going to choose to rotate it here on the y-axis. Let's see, you'll notice as I do this on the y, as I decrease those degrees, it changes the axis and gives us a nice looking 3D graph. A little bit of a danger though with 3D is if you get carried away, it can make this red wedge, for example, look too large. For example, if I click right here on the chart and then go ask for 2D to come back, you might just test drive that to make sure it's not too deceptive. But you could get carried away and make them a little too three-dimensional, and it can be a little deceptive. Likewise, you can even right-click the legend itself and do some formatting. So if I do a format legend, suppose I'd like to throw a little shadow on this legend, give it a little more of a nuanced fill and make it even a little bit larger. So you have many options. So one thing that'll be kind of fun for you on this project is you've got a lot of creativity potential here to work on. So hopefully that'll make sense to you, and if you wanted to push it into PowerPoint, let me just do this one last time. I'm going to click on the chart and do a copy. Let me get away from it for just a second. There we go. Right click and copy. Alright, we're good. Pop back over to PowerPoint. Pop into my next slide. I'm going to do a right click, and then remember we did, let's see, I think we need to get outside the box. So I'm going to scrunch this down just a little bit and do a right click and paste special. There we go. Once again, I want to put it in as a picture, so there's a disconnect there. And then I want that picture to get a little bit larger. That didn't do what I'd hoped, so I'm going to Control Z it to undo it. Better to use the corners here at times maybe and stretch it out. Not sure why we're getting scrunched down there like that. That's kind of crazy. So when all else fails, try it again. So I'm going to go back into Excel. I like the way it looked there, right? So copy and pop back into PowerPoint again. I think it might be smarter for me to get rid of the text box here. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of this slide altogether. And here's a nice thing to know about that I mentioned previously. You do have the option of duplicating. So if I click and look for a duplicate. Let's see, where did it go? There it is. So I clicked on the slide that I liked and I want a duplicate of it. The advantage there is it retains my title up at the top, and I get rid of, by clicking and deleting, that very table, and then I do a right click, paste special, and let's see if we get better results now. Nice, that's what I was hoping for. That's what I want, a nice duplicate of what's over in Excel, and then you can format it, and, or at least move it around and get it just the right perfect size, and then you've got this text box where you can make your comments. So hopefully that's a good introduction for you on how to use PowerPoint combined with Excel and how to build a pie graph from scratch based on data. Always remember to highlight your data first. And by the way, if you click on your chart, you change your mind. Suppose you want to just take a graph of, say, everyone but not the non-matriculating. You can actually just move those and it'll take care of that for you. If you want just the freshman, sophomore levels to be charted, notice how it changes the wedges. Bring on the juniors, 3 wedges, and back to the seniors, 4, and so on. So you can actually change the look and feel of your graph by doing nothing fancier than moving your cells of selection to the appropriate place. So I'm hoping that'll help you get up and running. Good luck on your project, and use some creativity and have fun. Thank you very much.